to Rome in the Vatican, where we've just seen the first glimpse of Pope Francis, who is now on the balcony there attending the Mass. Let's just listen in. Well, thousands are there in St. Peter's Square, and there is Pope Francis there. Cheers from the crowds and a wave from the 88-year-old pontiff. He has, of course, been very ill over the past few months and was in hospital with double pneumonia for several weeks, with his condition at one point described as extremely serious. But he has been out of hospital for a month or so now. He is expected to deliver a blessing now. It wasn't even clear whether or not he would make an appearance, but for the thousands of people who are in St. Peter's Square, they will be delighted to see the pontiff.
Fratelli e sorelle, buona Pasqua. Il maestro delle cerimonie di leggere il messaggio.
Cristo è risorto, alleluia. Oggi nella Chiesa finalmente risuona l'alleluia, riecheggia di bocca in bocca, da cuore a cuore.
Well, the Pope is not delivering the traditional Urbi et Orbi benediction. It is been given to a colleague to do that, given his ill health recently. But we did just hear him deliver a blessing. Let's talk to our correspondent, who is live in St. Peter's Square for us, Rupert Wingfield-Hayes. Rupert, a moment that will be to the delight of thousands of people who are there to see the Pope in person.
Yeah, absolutely, Samantha. You could feel the atmosphere here in St. Peter's Square change dramatically as the windows opened and as Pope Francis was rolled forward. He looks like he's still in his wheelchair, but he was rolled forward to the balcony, clapping, cheering, great anticipation. Obviously, everybody got their phones out and is filming it, but there's real excitement to see Pope Francis here today. That's what the faithful who've come here today for the Easter ceremony, for the Easter Mass, had wanted to see, and he has indeed come to see them and also to give a very, very short message. He just said, "Dear brothers and sisters, happy Easter." You could hear that his voice was very thin, very weak. It's very clear Pope Francis is still extremely weak after this very, very serious illness, but he clearly wanted to make his presence felt here today so that the tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people who've gathered here will get to see him.
And just remind us, Rupert, of the illness that the Pope has been suffering with for the past few months.
Well, he went down with flu in early March. It then got worse and it turned into pneumonia. He was taken to hospital, and it then got even worse. He got double pneumonia in both lungs, and there were moments when he was in hospital when there were real fears for his life. It was very, very serious. He is 88 years old. He already has, one of his lungs was damaged in early life, and so he doesn't have the strongest lungs. But he did pull through. He came out of hospital about a month ago, and he has been recuperating in the Vatican behind me here. And in the last week, we have seen him making his first public appearances. The first actually major one was meeting King Charles and Queen Camilla when they were in Rome. And then he's been doing some other visits in the last week in a wheelchair, clearly still very weak, clearly really struggling to be able to speak. Clearly, his lungs are clearly still not in a great condition. But it's also very clear that Pope Francis wants to be back in public. He wants to be seeing people. He appeared inside St. Peter's Basilica last night to meet people praying on Easter Eve. And then here we have seen him on the balcony this morning.
And we also found out a short time ago that he's held a private meeting in the past few hours with the US Vice President J.D. Vance, who's been in the country for the past few days, something that the Vice President was very much hopeful for, but it was doubtful that he would have that meeting, but he has had it.
He has indeed, yes. We heard just about half an hour ago that the US Vice President had what they call a brief meeting of a few minutes with Pope Francis this morning, actually while the Mass was going on behind me here. There was a lot of speculation in the media here as to whether this meeting would or would not take place, because we know that Pope Francis has been quite outspoken in his criticism of the Trump administration. But at the same time, J.D. Vance is a devout Catholic. His Catholic faith is clearly very important to him, and he clearly wanted to have this meeting. And so it has indeed happened this morning, a very brief meeting between the Vice President and Pope Francis.
Yeah, and as we continue to watch these pictures of Pope Francis and his colleagues, just explain what's happening now there in St. Peter's Square.
Well, we have had about a 2-hour Mass here. It's the Easter Mass. This, of course, is the high point of the calendar, the Christian calendar. This is the celebration of the resurrection of Jesus Christ, of victory of life over death. If you're a Christian believer, this is the most important festival of the Christian calendar. And that's why it is so important normally for the Pope to lead the celebrations here. This is the first time that Pope Francis has not led the celebrations since he was elected Pope. So, you know, it's a big deal, and it's clearly a sign of his health issues. And now we have come to the end of it, really. This is the benediction. This is the blessing for Easter, and then the ceremonies here will come to a close.
OK, Rupert Wingfield-Hayes, thank you very much for being with us there live in St. Peter's Square.